In this episode of Another Time, Another Place, we're going to build another deck. This one's going to be about 10 foot by 8 foot, and it's set up just for me to basically watch sunrises and sunsets. River's been pretty good about not going after his paw, so I've been taking him out of the collar when I'm awake and kind of watching what he's doing, but he's been sleeping in the e-collar. Going through my assets here, seeing what we can make. This deck was an original deck, then someone came along, scavenged the wood, and made a floating dock from it. So this is now the third time this wood is going back to being used as a deck. At least, it could have been more. The reason I know that is because these are all cut at 7.5. They would have been originally 7.6 when you bought them and cut them down. They would have been 7 foot 6 inches, because the ridge boards on each side are 3 inches on a deck. That would have brought the deck to 8 inches. So, or 8 feet, I'm sorry. And what they did was they just came and nicked it off. Pretty much what I did. They just nick, get the board out, and now the board's a little bit shorter. I do have two that are at the original 7 foot 6 inch that it would be for an original deck to make an 8 foot deck. Both of them have the nails still in the ends where I pulled them out, and they were never sawed off. So, but I only have two of those. The rest of them are 7 foot 5 inch, and I need to cut everything down to be an equal height, equal width to make the deck. So that's what we're gonna do today. And then, I mean, let's just do it. There's best way to, this is all reclaimed wood. If there's gonna be a deck that falls down tomorrow, I would prefer it be this deck. So I'm just gonna get into doing it. At this point, instead of buying a bunch of metal hooks to put on each board, the way a lot of people do their decks, I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, where I'm putting a board along a half-size board all the way along the original frame, and that way they'll have something to sit on when you toe them in, when you toenail them in. And I'm doing that on both sides of the deck, so they'll have just a tiny little place for the boards to sit into. Try to get that stuff for you. So he's got most of it. I think part of the channel of my channel is doing stuff solo, and when you're putting up a deck like this and you don't have, there's not 4 people holding it up or giving you these different ideas or what have you, it becomes more of a challenge. And when it's completed, it's more of an accomplishment. I built a deck with 3 or 4 people, and that was a hard day's work, and it was fun. We all were drinking, we were all having we had a good old time. That's not what this channel's about, though. This channel's about going to a different place in your mind and relaxing, and just, I hope that you watch me start this, and in your mind you're thinking of how you would build your own deck in the middle of the woods, or tree fort, or something where you never would have thought you would do it, and now you're thinking about that. And maybe you only watch 3 minutes of my video, and then it gets you to think for 3 hours. That's my goal. And I think that's what happens a lot. While I'm doing some of the editing, I am realizing that the deck doesn't necessarily look level in the camera. I think it's because the trees aren't level. Nothing is level except the deck. The only thing in the shot that's level is that board, but for some reason a lot of the shots of it make it look like it's not, so it's kind of weird. But I've cut the side off even, because I'm gonna end up bolting to it, and then I'm finishing up putting in that, I guess it's a bolster board to hold the joists that go across the 8 foot span. something pretty cool. When I'm at the marina and I have an apple core and I'm on my boat, you cannot chuck this in the water. Even if it was organic and everything was perfect about it. The rule is if it doesn't sink to the bottom or if it doesn't evaporate in the water within like 5 seconds, you shouldn't throw it in the water because no one wants to watch your apple core bob for the next 2 weeks around their boat. But when I'm on the off-grid property, it doesn't matter. All of my 10-inch 10 by 2 by 11 foot boards are 11 feet. So I'm going through right now and just hand sawing them to be 7 foot 6 inches. And that's going to be how wide my deck is 7 foot 6 inches by about 10 feet. And I have cut all the joists to 7 foot 3 inches, and then this is basically 3 inches bigger because it's on the outside. It's bolting on the outside rather than sitting on that bridge board that they all sit on. I'm also cutting a little bit off of one end and then making the major cut on the other end just so both ends are straight. You know, when you go through and you're editing and you see the shadows of the trees move along in the background of the video, I wish I knew time was passing like that quickly, right in front of me. I wish I could sense it and feel it and make every moment count even more. It's crazy how fast time goes. Just, you take a picture every 10 seconds instead of every second and you realize just how much time is passing. And you don't get it back. Digging a hole around here, pretty much the first inch is dirt and the rest is rock. So you use, a 35-pound pry bar, and then you dig it out with you get down 2 feet, and now I'm gonna put the post in. I'm just going to screw the post in place and allow it to settle for overnight at least before I do the leg bolts. Probably won't do the leg bolts until the whole deck is put together, and then I'll leg bolt the tree. I'll do the tree first, and then I'll leg bolt these posts. Dig a hole. This wind is going to be awesome in summer. Nice cool breeze coming up over this hill. Sitting on my sunset deck over there. Look at that. It's going to be great. I wanted to point this out. I don't think I've put enough time and effort into filming this part of it. The removing of nails and taking everything apart. I gotta tell you, the amount of time that goes into doing that kind of stuff. It's every board. Every single board needs to be and this is after I, went through and cut them all with the Sawzall. And then the ones that I didn't cut, you're going and either breaking off, pulling out, collecting them. Yeah. So that part of this is huge part of it. But remember, a lot of that I did on an island. I did it sitting here on my property. It's not like it's just tedious. That's all it is. I always point out when things are tedious. It frustrates me, I guess. But it is what it is. I'm going to put in the 4 boards, and my deck will be complete except for the cutting off of the posts and putting the deck boards on. I don't know if the building center is open on Saturdays. I'm going to ask my buddy and see. And then I'm going to get floorboards. I'm going to borrow a trailer and get 12 footers. River did really good. He didn't run too much. I let him off the leash just to go to the bathroom, and then he's been on the leash the whole time, just kind of sleeping. The RV, I forgot the solar is hooked up, so I've been charging everything off of the RV. I just turned on the inverter, and yeah, it's a lot better than the charging off of the Go Zero and having to worry about power out here. So that's where we're at. I mean, this thing is solid right now. I have to do the leg bolts, but I'm going to let it sit overnight. I might even put all the decking on it and then do the leg bolts once it sits, because I could very easily change the height of the deck if it settles at all. If you look at my wall, starts right here, drops down 3 feet. So when I make a little staircase going from the wall up to the deck, it'll all come together really nicely. Starting to look like a property, man, not just a RV parked on the side of the road. what I was originally going to do on the tiny house. I was going to have a 12-foot wide house with 2 6-foot wide porches on either side. And as I started to think about it and started thinking about how I wanted to use the porch, I kind of wanted the porch to be pretty much, much wider than 6 feet. So this is the new variation. Which one do you guys like? I figured this would be south facing, so the sun would never ever hit the house and it would stop the heat build up during the summer. And in the winter, the sun would be lower and actually hit the house and warm it up. I'll be able to put something wider on that porch, like, a kitchen or something like that. So, I don't know. I mean, this is my latest option. Which one do you guys like? I appreciate you guys watching this one. Just a guy playing in the forest with his dog. It's a lot of fun. Put a like, put a comment, subscribe if you would. I appreciate it. And I would really appreciate it if you share. If you got one person who likes to play in the woods or likes to go hang out on islands or what have you, just shoot an email and let them take a look at my channel. Thank you. Talk to you guys later.